Hello Fiction Chicks, welcome back to the channel. I am Joanna. The job market is terrible, employers keep pissing me off, and I want to talk about it. For anyone who's curious, I'm using Meeden acrylic paint markers to draw this sunrise landscape in the background. So I have 4 instances of employers being absolute fucking jokes. All of this takes place within the last 6-7 months, so yes, it is recent, but it's still a while ago, so I might not remember the exact timelines of everything, but this shit is bothering me, and I want to talk about it, and I need to make content, so here we are. So the first incident, this happened back in January or February, way early in the year. My mom goes on the site Nextdoor a lot, and she found a post about some guy who runs a small business animal rescue, and he was looking for help, and he would have paid for this help. I love animals, I need a job, so my mom sent me the guy's contact info. So I texted the guy, I'm like, hey, I'm Joanna, I heard you're looking for help with your animal rescue, I would love to help out. So we're texting a little bit, we discussed prices and hours and all that, and this seems like such a great gig. We agreed on $25 an hour and 10 hours a week tops-ish, so good pay, super flexible, and actually something I would like to do because I love animals. The guy is running this animal rescue out of his house, so by small business, I mean small business, from my understanding, it's just him running all this, and one morning he sent me a video of the setup of all of the animal enclosures, where everything is around the house. This all seemed fine for a weekish until he started not responding. He would text me asking me to do something, I would ask for more information, and then he wouldn't respond, and I wouldn't hear from him for a week, and the thing he asked me to do would never come up in conversation again, and it's bro, what the fuck? A specific example of this would be one day he asked me to make a post on Instagram about a hamster that is up for adoption, so I asked him for the Instagram login and for the information on this hamster so I can make this post. He never replied to that text. It's how do you expect me to work for you if you cannot efficiently and quickly explain what you need done? And then eventually contact with him stopped entirely. I did not hear from this guy for a month, and I did try to text him and I would never get a reply. So after so long of zero contact, my mom messages him on Nextdoor, and his response was something like, oh, I'm so sorry, I really want to work with your daughter, but I lost her number. And I'm thinking, how the fuck did you lose my number? Unless he got a new phone where his text messages and contacts didn't transfer to the new phone, then okay. But if that was the case, why didn't you just text my mom on Nextdoor, explain the situation, and ask for my number again? How did you ghost me for a month when you did have contact to, at the very least, my mom because you were texting her on Nextdoor? So that didn't make any sense, but whatever. I text the guy again, and it's the same shit. He still asks me to do things with little information. He's still not responding to me when I ask for more information, so nothing is getting done because he can't communicate or respond to my texts. Do you need help or not? What is going on? Oh, and another specific instance that annoyed me was he wanted me to drive 40 minutes to an hour out of state to pick up surrendered animals, and he gave me 2 days notice. And again, didn't give me enough information, so I had to ask for the address and the time I'm supposed to be there to pick up these animals, and he never responds. So it's the day before or the morning of, again, I forget the exact timeline, but the point is we're running out of time. And I text him again, and I'm like, hey, I need the information. What's going on with this animal pickup? And he goes, oh yeah, I got somebody else to do that for me. Okay, cool. When the fuck were you going to tell me that? Now, him wanting me to make that drive in and of itself isn't necessarily a problem if he would pay me for the travel time, because that is a long-ass drive, and he gave me ample notice. But he did not give me ample notice. He just dropped this on me 2-ish days before the intended pickup was. That's not okay. I need to make sure I'm available to actually do that because that's going to take a good amount of time. But anyway, my biggest issue was the severe lack of communication. So eventually I'm I can't fucking do this anymore. I can't keep waiting on this guy to give me more information, which isn't going to happen because he doesn't text me back for weeks. So I'm all right, screw this. I text him and I basically say to him that I can't keep waiting on you. I do have other stuff going on. I need you to be better with communication or I can't work for you. I checked my messages. I sent him that text on May 26th. He does not respond to me until July 2nd. That is over a month where I do not hear from this man. But he finally texts me back saying, sorry for the lack of communication. Can you give me a call to discuss some things? I'm like, yeah, you can call me anytime tonight. He doesn't call me. The next morning, he texts me asking to figure out a time and date for me to come over to see the animal setups. We pick a time and date. I go over to his house. He shows me around all the animal enclosures. That took 10 minutes, and then I leave, and I'm thinking, cool, finally something came through. Maybe this will finally work and I can actually have a job. Nope, I was wrong. To this day, August 2nd. I still have barely heard from this guy. It's like he's the one that asked for help and says he wants to work with me, so I genuinely cannot understand how flaky he is when he's the one that says he needs help. I have been quote unquote working for this guy for 7 to 8 months now, give or take a few weeks. I have done practically nothing and have not gotten paid a single penny. Love that. Now, I understand that he is just one guy running this thing out of his parents' house, so I'm really trying to be, lenient and understanding. But even small businesses are not exempt from having to have good communication skills. I did text him again today, so hopefully something will finally work out with this, but I'm not getting my hopes up. Second incident, very similar in the sense of zero fucking communication from the employer. This one also started back in January, maybe December. I forget exactly when I applied, but I know for sure that the first day of work was supposed to be January 15th, 2025. This job was with the company Athena Coding, who runs after-school programs for elementary schools, and the job that I applied for was jewelry making instructor. I applied for this on LinkedIn or Indeed, I forget which, but the job posting said that you get paid $50 an hour, the shift is only an hour, and you work 3 days a week, 2 days a week. I don't like kids, but the pay is good and jewelry making is art adjacent and I have my degree in art, so I figured it's close enough to my field. I need a job, fuck it, I'll apply. Again, the start day was January 15th, but January 15th had passed, so I thought I didn't get the job. Now it's the 28th and I get an email from, I don't know what her job title was, but somebody from Athena Coding, basically giving me the position. She sent me the list of work days, asked which days of those I am available. I said I am available to work all of those days. I sent her back all of the filled out paperwork and I figured there would be a follow-up email with, I don't know, the fucking address of the school that I'm working at or a background check or something. But nope, she did not reply to me. So then on February 2nd, I had to reach out to her and be like, hey, can you confirm that I have the job? I have some other opportunities coming up. I need to solidify my schedule. She gets back to me the same day saying, yeah, you have the job. Can you just confirm you're available all these dates? I say I'm no longer available these few dates in March, but I'm still available for every day in February. She doesn't reply again. So the next day I email her asking, hey, is my start day going to be February 12th? And I said February 12th because that was the first date in the list of dates that she sent me asking if I'm available to work those days. 3 days go by. Now it's February 6th. And she gets back to me saying, oh no, we actually staffed that school, so you're not going to be working there anymore. We're going to put you at this other school, and that start date is February 25th. And I'm thinking, why the fuck did you fill the position that I thought you already gave me? Why didn't you tell me that sooner? So I was annoyed at that because I need work, and I told her that I was available for all of February, and we've been talking for a week now, so I don't understand why I couldn't have been put at that first school and started working a week earlier. And in that email, she asked if I was still available the last week of February, but I had booked an acting gig, and I knew it was at the end of February, but I didn't know what day or anything, so I had to tell her, I'm not sure, I have an acting gig, I don't know the day yet. She didn't reply, so then the next day, now it's February 8th, I emailed her again saying, hey, my acting gig got pushed back until April, so I will be available for all of February. And then she never replied to me, literally never fucking replied. So she gives me the job, she has absolute shit communication with me for the entire week, 2 weeks, however long it was that she was talking to me. Horrible communication, fucking ghosts me, and then the work season is over. What the actual fuck? That is so infuriating. I told you I was available. Did you need that job filled or not? I told you I was fucking available. What the fuck happened? For that whole email sequence, I actually read through my old emails, so that whole thing is accurate. But the thing that also made this extremely infuriating is I cannot put my entire life on pause waiting for this woman to get back to me. So here I am applying to other jobs. I actually got an interview and I had to tell the guy, I'm not too sure what my availability is because I'm waiting on this other job, but both of you are part-time, so I'm sure we can make it work. And then I ended up not getting that job either. And I think part of it was because I can't confirm my availability because this fucking Athena Coding person can't reply to my emails in a timely manner. So I can't continue with my life and schedule other things because I don't know what the Athena Coding schedule is because she can't fucking tell me when I'm working. And side note about that acting gig, now I can't be too mad at them because I understand this is a small indie production. They're just average people trying to make shit work. But this indie company is also really bad at communication. So I got 2 gigs with them, different projects, but under the same company. And with both gigs, I would get confirmation that I got the part, and then I don't hear from the director for a month or more. So now I'm panicking, thinking what the fuck is going on? Did they forget about me? What's happening with this project? When am I needed to be on set? So then I would keep reaching out to the director asking like what the schedule is like, sometimes she wouldn't reply. And then when she did reply, she would give me a date, and then it would get close to that date and I don't have any information. So I'd reach out again and she'd be like, oh no, it got pushed back to this other date. And it's like, the second gig that I booked with this company came through really quickly, but the first gig I booked with them, I am still waiting on. I got this part back in August of 2024. It is now almost a year from the email saying, hey, you got the part, and still nothing has happened with it. And this was the gig that I keep contacting the director about, and she keeps telling me that the recording date for my part is getting pushed back repeatedly. And like, I get it, it's hard to get shit done when you're working with a bunch of freelancers that have probably 9-to-5 jobs and other shit going on in their life. I understand, but maybe just tell me if there's a delay. Like, why are you waiting for me to reach out to you to tell me, oh no, it got pushed back another month? Like, just tell me. And then I feel like I'm being annoying, constantly reaching out to her, asking what the fuck is going on, but like, she's not talking to me and I need to know what's happening. And to clarify, she would never give me an exact recording date. She would give me a general date, like, oh, we'll be recording your part at the end of February. Oh no, now it got pushed back to the end of April. Anyway, moving on, stupid employer number 3. This company was Pinot's Palette, which was a paint and sip studio. So I applied online. The employer reached out to me on a phone call. She asked me about like my skills and my experience and if I'm good with public speaking. I said I've been drawing all my life. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts, concentration in illustration. I have 9-ish years of acting experience, so public speaking is no problem for me. And I have a little bit of teaching experience because I did run a few art workshops while in college, and I was art club co-president while in college. And she's like, wow, you're great. You have all of the related experience. You sound like a perfect fit. The first step of the hiring process was I had to come in for one of the classes and follow the instructions as if I was part of the paint and sip class, just so they could see my painting skills and see if my style and my skill level was a good match to be an instructor. If I got the job, then I would start out as an instructor assistant, getting paid $16 an hour, and I would be an assistant for a few weeks or a few months until the employer felt ready that I was good enough to run a class of my own, and then I would move up to instructor, where I would be getting paid, I forget if it was 20 or 22, something like that. Decently better pay than being an assistant, and we could also get tips. So I go to one of the classes in early March. I had to leave my painting there for the employer to look it over, but the guy that was running the class that day saw my painting and he was like, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, you got this in the bag. Like, you're such a good painter. A day or so later, the employer calls me. She says, your painting is amazing. You got the job. Can you start work on this day? And I say, yes, of course. So I come to my first day of work as an assistant. There's one other employee here, the person running the class, and, you know, she's my trainer. Class goes fine, didn't have any issues. However, there's a few things that my trainer said about how the job works and about the employer that I really don't like. First of all, we get paid through Venmo, which isn't necessarily a problem. That's just really weird for an established business to pay their employees. Why are you going through Venmo? Every single other job has paid me direct deposit or with a check. The second thing was there was a stack of paintings at the front of the room that I was looking through trying to find my assessment painting, and I asked my trainer about it, and she goes, oh yeah, those are our demo paintings. You can either keep them when you're done with the class, or you can put them in this pile and we sell them for $15 each. And I asked, does that money go to the instructor who painted the demo painting, or does it go to the company? And she goes, it goes to the company. And I'm like, we don't even get a percentage out of it? And she goes, nope, all the $15 goes to the company. And that really pissed me off, because yeah, sure, I'm using company supplies to make that painting, but I'm the one that actually made the painting. I'm the one that put in the fucking work to actually produce that painting. That was my skills, my knowledge to make that painting. And then when it sells, you're not even going to give me a percentage of it. Like, I understand it's a business. They got to make their money too. They got to make a profit and like break even at least for the money that they put in to buy those supplies. I understand that. I should still be getting some of that money when a painting sells, because again, my skills, my knowledge, my work, I'm the one that actually put in the effort to make the painting. You just supplied me with the paint and the canvas. Third thing was my trainer said that our employer likes us to come in 15 minutes early for each shift. And I said, do we get paid for that 15 minutes? And she said no. And then I said, well, then with all due respect, I'm not coming in 15 minutes early. That was another thing that really pissed me off. Honestly, that one sounds straight up illegal, asking your employees to come in 15 minutes early for every single shift, but then not paying them for that extra 15 minutes. Excuse you? Like, I get 15 minutes isn't a whole lot of time, but that 15 minutes is gonna add up really fucking quickly. And even just the idea of asking your employees to work for free for any amount of time is extremely fucked. And similarly to that, my trainer said that if we ever stay late from a shift for any reason, our employer will not pay us unless we stay really late, like a half hour, then maybe she'll pay us. Which again, fucked because this is not a salary job. This is an hourly job. So if I'm stuck staying late, regardless of the reason, that's me working overtime. I should get paid for however long I stayed late. And my first day of work, we actually did stay a half hour late because this is my first day. I don't know how we close. So my trainer had to walk me through everything and it took an extra half hour than intended. So my trainer said that she texted our employer to let her know that we stayed late because she was training me and that we should get paid for that extra half hour. We didn't, or at least I didn't. The day after my first shift, I get a notification from Venmo saying that I got paid, but only for the time that was in shift. I did not get paid for the extra half hour, and that really ticked me off, and I should have asked about it. I didn't because, I don't know, I didn't want to make a fuss on my first day of work. It's like, I need this job. I should have said something, though, because that's fucked to not pay your employees when they stay overtime. And another weird thing is my trainer said that there is no clock in or out, that our employer just keeps track of all of our shifts herself. That doesn't sound right to me. That sounds like a timesheet could very easily get fudged, be it on purpose or accident. Anyway, my first day working with this company was on a Friday night in early March. And then that was my only shift scheduled with them. And a couple days go by, that brings us to, it was either Thursday or Friday morning, I forget which, but I don't hear from this employer. So I text her asking what the schedule for this weekend is. And she says, we're still in the process of hiring people. There is no schedule yet. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. Another week goes by. It's Thursday or Friday again. I still don't hear from her. So I text her again, asking what the schedule for the weekend is. She does not reply. Another week passes. It's Thursday or Friday again. I still don't hear from her. So this time I called her in the afternoon, but it was still within normal business hours. It goes to voicemail, so I leave a voicemail saying something like, hey, it's Joanna. I haven't heard from you in a while, so I'm just reaching out. I really want to work. Please put me on the schedule. Then at 9:05 that night, so extremely out of normal business hours, which I think is a weird time to get back to me, she texts me, you know what, I'll even put the text messages on screen. I got screenshots so you can read along for yourself how fucking ridiculous this is. She gets back to me saying, yeah, we decided to go with another candidate. And I'm like, I thought I already got the job. What happened? She said, you were in a training period with other candidates and we thought one of them was a better fit for the job. And I am thoroughly pissed now because this should have been explained to me well in advance. So I kept it professional, but I called her out on her bullshit. I'm like, this is very poor communication on your part. I thought I had the job. I did not know I would be competing against other people during this training period. And if you went with a different candidate, you should have told me that ASAP instead of going silent for 3 weeks. She said, I did tell you that there was a training period. I said, yeah, you said that there was a training period. Every job has a training period. You did not tell me that there was a possibility I would not have a job after a single day of training. She said, I have to consider my employees' feedback about you, to which I asked, may I ask why you chose to go with somebody else? And she never fucking replied, which I find extremely insulting. Like, if you're not going to give me the job, the very least you can do is explain why I didn't get the job so I understand what I did wrong and can improve and then get a job somewhere else. I genuinely cannot figure out what I did wrong to make them think that I wasn't a good fit for this job. Like, I did literally everything I was supposed to do. I answered everyone's questions. I refilled their paint as needed. I gave them suggestions on how to improve their painting. I did the steps that they couldn't figure out how to do themselves. I did everything that my trainer told me to do. Actually, I did more than I was supposed to do. When there was some chill time, everybody seemed to be doing good on their own. I was off to the side unclogging all of these paint pumps because some of these paint pumps were so fucking clogged that very little paint was coming out at all, or it would awkwardly squirt out to the side. Like, these paint pumps were bad. I was pulling out tubes, literal tubes of paint out of these pumps. And when we were closing, I was mopping the floor and my trainer said, oh, you don't have to mop that hard, just get the floor wet, it's not serious. So here I am actually doing more than I'm supposed to, and she still thought I wasn't good enough for the job? What the fuck? The only thing I can think of that I did wrong per se was say that I'm not coming in 15 minutes early without getting paid, and yeah, as I should. Again, what the fuck is wrong with you to expect your employees to work overtime without getting paid? Then like a month later, I'm scrolling through my email and I see that I had actually missed an email from early March from Piano's Palette saying, hey, welcome to the team. Here's your login information for the employee website. So I got the job. I got the fucking job. I have an email confirmation with login info to make an account on the employee website. Again, I had missed this email, so I never did make an account on the employee website, and I realized that's really bad. That's my own fault. However, I don't think that is something to fire me over. Like, again, I reached out to this employer 3 fucking times asking her what's going on with the schedule. Not once did she ever say, oh, you need to make an account on our website before we can put you into the system and schedule you. That should have been fucking said. Like, if the only issue was I didn't make an account on the employee website, then just fucking tell me to make an account on the employee website. Like, for all she knows, I may never have gotten that email at all. She could have put in my email address wrong. Like, she's gonna fire me over a single missed email and not even talk to me about it? What the actual fuck? That is so fucking ridiculous and could have been fixed with a simple reminder text from her asking if I had gotten that email. So again, shit communication, and honestly, that employer seemed really fucking sketchy with asking us to come in outside of our shift, but not paying us for that time outside of our shift, and with the no clock in, clock out system, just keeping track of our shifts herself. Red flags. And the last problem employer I had was the company called Science Heroes, which is a kids educational traveling theater. There's only one show that I had to learn and then do over and over again. It is an interactive show for kids, teaching them about basic science. I applied for this job on Indeed. I got the job. However, it took like a month to learn the show because I had to have a weekly Zoom meeting with my trainer and learn the show like one page at a time. When I first applied for this company, the job description online didn't sound so bad, but when I learned more about the company, stuff started to seriously irk me. On the job posting, I know that it said that this was a traveling theater and they would send me to locations within a 100-mile radius, which is like a 2-hour drive or more, by the way. They don't pay for gas, tolls, or parking, but they will pay me 20 cents per mile. The company will provide me with all of the equipment needed for the show experiments, and if I needed to buy anything myself for the show, they will reimburse me. I really thought I was getting paid $40 an hour, and including setup and cleanup time, that would be like a 3-hour shift, so I would be getting paid $120 per show. That's what I thought. We'll get back to that. The thing about the travel, like I said, if they're sending me 100 miles away, that is roughly a 2-hour drive. I am not taking 4 hours total out of my day for a job that is not paying well, especially one that I don't like because I'm not an educator and I don't like kids. I only applied to this job because it's a performance job. I am a performer. It's a job that I know I can do and I need work. Also, I didn't know this when I first applied, but these shows are a one-person show. I am the only person for my company when I'm going to these shows, meaning I have to manage a room full of kids by myself. Now, of course, other adults will be there, like teachers and parents, but like I am the only performer there. That's stressful as fuck. So a job I don't particularly like. Pay isn't great, so no, I am not driving 100 miles if you're not paying me for that travel time. So during my first interview with this company, I specifically told them I am not driving over an hour unless absolutely necessary, and they said, okay, no problem. But anyway, the weeks go on. I'm still learning the show. All of my equipment came in, and then I get my schedule. Now, I still have a week or two of training at this point, so none of my shows are anytime soon, but I have my schedule and I'm looking through all of the locations and I realized that like 6 of them are an hour and a half or more drive away, some of which out of state. And it's like, bro, I specifically told you I'm not driving more than an hour unless absolutely necessary. You're telling me there's not a single other performer that's closer to these 6 locations? And another thing I didn't know was going to happen until I saw my schedule was some days I was scheduled for multiple performances. Sometimes those performances were back to back on the same location, but other days I'll have one performance in the morning at one location and then another performance in the evening at a different location a half hour away from the first location. And again, these are fucking far drives, so there's no point in me coming home in between those 2 performances, meaning I'll be stuck in a town that I am unfamiliar with all fucking day without getting paid for that time in between the 2 shows. That seems way too much to ask, especially when I'm not getting paid for travel time either. For the last bit of training, I had to perform the entire show from memory with the experiments and an audience to interact with on Zoom with my trainer watching. So I do that, and then after the Zoom call, I step out of the room to talk to my trainer. We're talking about how I did today, more stuff about the company, and then she said payment is $100 per show, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? I thought it was $40 per hour. And she goes, no, it's $100 per show. And again, this would have been roughly a 3-hour shift to set up, do the performance, and take down. So I would have been getting paid $120 per show, but she's saying it's only $100 per show. And I'm like, huh? So that didn't track. And I also mentioned that 6 of my performances are over an hour drive when I said I'm not driving over an hour. And she goes, yeah, you did say that. Okay, here's the number of the person above me. Go talk to him. Now, this conversation happened on a Sunday evening, meaning the guy she told me to talk to wouldn't be available because it's outside of business hours. So I didn't get to talk to him until Monday or Tuesday. But in that time, I looked back at the job posting on Indeed. And in 2 separate locations, the job posting says the payment is $100 per hour. And then somewhere written in the description, it says the payment is $100 per show. So frankly, I don't understand where I got $40 per hour. That's my own fault, but the job posting doesn't make sense. Which is it? Am I getting paid $100 per hour or am I getting paid $100 per show? It says $100 per hour twice. So what the fuck? The point is there's a discrepancy with payment that doesn't make sense. And even if I am getting paid $100 per show, I still think that is not good payment, because sure, it's an easy script to remember. This is not a difficult show, but you have to consider that this is a one-person show. I don't have anybody else to rely on if something goes wrong. I have to manage the entire interactive show with tiny children by myself. I am in charge of these kids. Again, yes, parents and teachers will be in the room as well, but this is my show, so I am responsible if anything goes wrong. Solely on me, because I'm the only performer here. That's really fucking stressful. And I also have to manage all of my equipment, and I have to go out and buy like rubbing alcohol or whatever else when I run out for these experiments, and I don't get paid for the shopping time. I do get paid for reimbursement for what I spent on the equipment, but I don't get paid for the time it takes me to go shopping. And again, with these long ass drives that I'm not getting paid for, and this dead time between morning shows and evening shows that I'm not getting paid for. So yeah, it's not necessarily hard work, but it is a lot of work. It is stressful and time-consuming work that requires multiple skills. So yeah, I think that's worth more than $100 per show. So I get in contact with this guy and he's like, hey, I heard you had some questions about payment and stuff. He's asking me a bit about my acting experience and why I applied to the job and if I'm confident I can do it. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm confident I can do it, but I'm not really excited. Like, I'm not an educator. I'm not a kid person, but I am a performer. This is an easy script. I'm confident I can do this job. I sent him a screenshot of the Indeed job posting where it says both $100 per hour and $100 per show, so contradicting payment. And he's like, the way Indeed works, we have to put the payment in per hour. That's just how the settings work. There is no way around that. We can't do it per show. Which, okay, understandable, but if that's the case, I feel like I should have been clearly written out in the job description that the payment is per show, not per hour, and that the Indeed settings make them put the payment in per hour. I feel like that should have been explained better on the job posting itself. The guy says, we really liked your audition video. You're a great actor. We really want to work with you. I'm a problem solver guy. I see a problem. I want to solve it. So you tell me what payment you want to make this job worthwhile for you. I'm like, actually, I didn't think that far ahead. I don't know what payment would be good. Is it okay if I hang up and call you back later? And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I hang up. I call my mom because my mom is better with business and financing than I am. So I explain everything to my mom and I mentioned the 20 cents per mile and she's like, wait a minute, that can't be right. The standard is 70 cents per mile. You should be getting paid 70 cents per mile. And I'm like, that's interesting. So my mom gives me suggestions on what to ask for payment. I hang up with my mom. I call the guy back. I mentioned that it's 70 cents per mile is the state standard. And he goes, yeah, that's for business, but we're an independent contractor. So really we can do whatever we want. And I didn't say this, but in my head, I'm like, fuck you. That sounds like he is intentionally choosing to pay his employees less than the state standard simply because he can. That is incredibly unfair. That's fucked. If you have the funds to pay your employees more at the very least state standard, you fucking should. This is a large countrywide company, and he didn't say anything about financial hardship. He said, we can do what we want. So that sounds like, yeah, you are choosing to be greedy and not pay your employees because you want more money for yourself. That's fuck you. I said something about the 6 locations that are over an hour away, and he says, well, you said you would. And I'm like, yeah, I said I would if absolutely necessary, as in somebody dropped out last minute and I'm the only replacement. So we're negotiating payment. I throw out some numbers and I kept asking him over and over, does this sound reasonable? I specifically asked for his opinion because I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to take advantage of him. I don't want him to just fire me because, oh, I'm too expensive or some bullshit like that. Like, I want this to work for both of us. So I kept asking, does this sound reasonable? And instead of him saying a simple yes or no or a counter negotiation, he said, no, you tell me what you want. Because I've had this happen before. I negotiate with a performer. We come to an agreement. Then we hang up. They go talk to other people, get told they're taking advantage of, and then they drop out the day before a performance. I don't want that to happen again. So just tell me what you want. And I'm like, okay, well, here's what I want. He goes, okay, cool. So we come to an agreement, we hang up, and then 2 hours later, he calls me back saying, yeah, we need to go in a different direction. I have to do what's best for the company, so I'll keep in touch with you to figure out a day for you to return all of the equipment. And it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to say to that? So I just say, okay, but in my head, I am screaming. I am thoroughly pissed. Like, literally 2 hours ago, we just came to an agreement. You specifically said to tell you what I want. You specifically said you don't want me to drop out the day before a show after coming to an agreement, but now you're doing the same fucking thing? Excuse you? If he realized what he agreed on was too expensive, why not just call me back to renegotiate? I was open to negotiation. I kept asking him, does this sound reasonable? Why the fuck did he not once tell me, no, that's a little too much, can we go lower? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, the fuck happened to, we really liked your audition, we really want to work with you. The fuck happened to, I'm a problem solver, I see a problem, I want to solve it. You're just gonna fucking drop me 2 hours after negotiating? Make that make sense. God forbid I ask for better pay. Oh, and then he made me hold on to his equipment for a fucking month after firing me. Like, he said he would reach out and schedule something with me to return the equipment. He didn't, so like a week after that phone call, I reached out to him. I reached out to him 2 or 3 times within that month of holding on to his equipment. And he kept saying, yeah, I'm working on it, but scheduling is hard, and then I wouldn't hear from him for another week. And it's like, this is ridiculous. This is your shit, dude. You can't expect me to be holding on to your shit for so fucking long when I have no use for it because you decided to fire me. Like, I'm actually getting annoyed at this, and so is my mom. This is a fucking 18-gallon bin of science equipment just sitting in our dining room collecting dust because I have no use for it now. Like, get your fucking shit out of my house. So towards the end of the month, I'm like, fuck this. I'm putting my foot down. I reach out to him again, and I'm like, hey, you cannot expect me to hold on to your stuff for this long. Figure something out by this weekend, or I am donating everything, and I will not be paying for replacements. And then, oh, look at that. He finally scheduled a pickup with me for a few days later. These 4 experiences in a row, mind you, they were one after the other, are a perfect example as for why I get so fucking pissed when I see people shaming other people for having low-paying jobs or not having a job at all, or saying some absolute bullshit like, oh, just work harder. Oh, just get a job. Bitch, it ain't that fucking easy. If getting a job was really so simple as to just working hard, I would not be complaining right now. If it were really that simple, there wouldn't be so many people unemployed or with low-paying jobs struggling to survive. It's not that we're all lazy and unskilled and don't want to work. It's that employers are fucking greedy assholes who don't want to pay us. That's all I have to say about this. I am mad, and every time I try to look for a job, I just get depressed and angry because nothing wants to fucking work for me. Anyway, thanks for listening, I guess. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more of me, click the link in the bio. That'll bring you to Instagram, other Instagram, TikTok, a whole bunch of other stuff involving me. If you like this type of content where I am talking over a drawing video, let me know and leave some topics in the comments for me to talk about, and I will do more of this. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye. See you in the next one.